I thought since I had already done reading videos for the first two Lord of the Rings books, I would actually do, for this video, one for the third. I haven't actually finished reading this one yet, but I'm enjoying it quite a lot, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to do a new video. So I'm just going to read out from the first chapter of the second book, or the sixth book overall, but the second in this one, because each, if you don't know, each of the three Lord of the Rings books is split up into like more books, so there's more than three really. So yeah, I'm just gonna make this a simple reading video. And this chapter is called The Tower of Cirith Ungol. Sam roused himself painfully from the ground. For a moment he wondered where he was, and then all the misery and despair returned to him. He was in the deep dark outside the undergate of the Orcs' stronghold. His brazen doors were shut. He must have fallen stunned when he hurled himself against them, but how long he had lain there he did not know. Then he had been on fire, desperate and furious. Now he was shivering and cold. He crept to the doors and pressed his ears against them. Far within he could hear faintly the voices of Orcs clamouring, but soon they stopped or passed out of hearing, and all was still. His head ached and his eyes saw phantom lights in the darkness, but he struggled to steady himself and think. It was clear at any rate that he had no hope of getting in to the Orc hold by that gate. He might wait there for days before it was opened, and he could not wait. Time was desperately precious. He no longer had any doubt about his duty. He must rescue his master or perish in the attempt. The perishing is more likely, and will be a lot easier anyway, he said grimly to himself, as he sheathed the sting and turned from the brazen doors. Slowly he groped his way back in the dark along the tunnel, not daring to use the elven light, and as he went he tried to fit together the events since Frodo and he had left the crossroads. He wondered what time it was. Somewhere between one day and the next, he supposed, but even of the days he had quite lost count. He was in a land of darkness, where the days of the world seemed forgotten, and where all who entered were forgotten too. I wonder if they think of us at all, he said, and what is happening to them all the way there. He waved his hand vaguely in the air before him, but he was in fact now facing southwards, as he came back to Shelob's tunnel, not west. Out westward in the world it was drawing to noon upon the 14th day of March in Shire reckoning, and even now Aragorn was leading the Black Fleet from Pereglir, and Merry was riding with Arorim down the Stonewain Valley while in Minas Tirith flames were rising, and Pippin watched the madness growing in the eyes of Denethor. Yet amid all their cares and feared thoughts of their friends turned constantly to Frodo and Sam. They were not forgotten, but they were far beyond aid, and no thought could yet bring any help to Samwise Hamfast's son. He was utterly alone. He came back at last to the stone door of the Orc passage, and still unable to discover the catch or bolt that held it, he scrambled over as before and dropped softly to the ground. Then he made his way stealthily to the outlet of Shelob's tunnel, where the rags of her great web were still blowing and swaying in the cold air. For cold they seemed to Sam after the noisome darkness behind, but the breath of them revived him. He crept cautiously out. All was ominously quiet, sound and smoke now lit again beneath with a sullen glow of red. Sam looked up towards the Orc Tower, and suddenly from its narrow windows light stared out like small red eyes. He wondered if there was some signal. His fear of the Orcs, forgotten for a while in his wrath and desperation, now returned. As far as he could see, there was only one possible course for him to take. He must go on and try to find the main entrance to the dreadful tower. But his knees felt weak, and he found that he was trembling. Drawing his eyes down from the tower and the horns of the cleft before him, he forced his unwilling feet to obey him, and slowly listening with all his ears, peering into the dense shadows of the rocks beside the way, he retraced his steps past the place where Frodo fell, and still the stench of Shelob lingered, and then on and up until he stood again in the very cleft where he had put on the ring and seen Shagrad's company go by. There he halted and sat down. For the moment he could drive himself no further. He felt that if once he went beyond the crown of the pass and took one step veritably down into the land of Mordor, that step would become irrevocable. He could never come back. Without any clear purpose, he drew out the ring and put it on again. Immediately he felt the great burden of its weight and felt afresh, but now more strong and urgent than ever. The malice of the Eye of Mordor searching, trying to pierce the shadows that it had made for its own defence, but which now hindered it in its unquiet and doubt. As before, Sam found that his hearing was sharpened, but that to his sight the things of the world seemed thin and vague. The rocky walls of the path were pale, as if seen through a mist, but still at a distance he heard the bubbling of Shelob in her misery, and harsh and clear, and very close it seemed. He heard cries and the clash of metal. He sprang to his feet and pressed himself against the wall beside the road. He was glad of the ring, for here was yet another company of Orcs on the march. Or so at first he thought, then suddenly he realised that it was not so. His hearing had deceived him. The Orc cries came from the tower, whose topmost horn was now right above him, on the left hand of the cleft. Sam shuddered and tried to force himself to move. There was plainly some devilry going on. Perhaps in spite of all orders the quality of the Orcs had mastered them, and they were tormenting Frodo, or even savagely hacking him to pieces. He listened, and as he did so a gleam of hope came to him. There could not be much doubt. There was fighting in the tower. The Orcs must be at war among themselves. Shagrad and Gormak had come to blows. Faint as was the hope that these guests brought him, it was enough to rouse him. There might be just a chance. His love for Frodo rose above all other thoughts, and forgetting his peril, he cried aloud, "I'm coming, Mr. Frodo." He ran forward to the climbing path and over it. At once the road turned left and plunged steeply down. Sam had crossed into Mordor. He took off the ring, moved it may be by some deep premonition of danger, though loath to himself, he thought only that he wished to see more clearly. "Better have a look at the worst," he muttered. "No good blundering about in a fog."